Okay, we are going to start with the box with simple math. We're going to be working with formulas and cell references. So this is really where the fun and the usefulness of Excel comes in handy because Excel likes to analyze data, numbers. It's a number cruncher tool. And so we need to make sure that we tell it when we want it to crunch numbers and when we don't. And many of us use Excel or a spreadsheet like that to do basic things like setting up a budget or trying to figure out how much things are going to cost. So, a budget for a vacation and stuff like that. So, the first thing we're going to do is learn basic math with Excel. And I'm going to start by many of you guys may remember this from an algebra class. It's order of operations, and it starts with, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Please represents parentheses. Excuse represents an exponent, which is symbolized by this, so I would say an exponent like squared. My stands for multiplication, which is an asterisk. Dear stands for division, which is the backspace button. Hey, there we go. Ant is for addition, and Sally, whoops, see, it's going to try to, it wants to start adding things. And Sally stands for subtraction. So, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. We are going to now do some basic formulas here. We have 3 plus 2 equals, and we're going to tell Excel how to do the math. We could do the math, but we are error prone, especially if you've ever taken a math class, you understand this. So I'm going to show you how you create a basic formula within Excel using cell references. Okay, so I have highlighted the cell V4. This is where I want my answer to be. And I'm going to come up to my formula bar. And here is where I'm going to start typing the formula. Anytime we want Excel to do an equation of any sort, we need to start with the equal sign. We are asking Excel to solve a problem here. Now we know that the rest of this is simple addition, and we could type in the number 3 and then the plus sign and then the number 2, and then we could hit enter and we would get the correct answer, which is 5. However, we are humans and we make mistakes. And what if I found out that this was really not supposed to be 3 plus 2, but 4 plus 2? If I change it to 4 plus 2, is 5 correct? No. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to go back to 3 plus 2, how to do this. So if I make any changes to these, then it will update the product, the end addition sum. Okay, so I'm going to come back here. I'm just going to delete the number so I still have my equals sign, or you can delete everything and then just type equals in again. And now, instead of typing in the number 3, I'm going to click on the cell address that has the number 3 in it. So I'm going to click on the cell. It is cell R4, and it automatically shows that right here. So I don't have to type it in. Okay, so it's saying equals, this will equal R4, the number, whatever number is in there, and then I'm going to tell it plus, because that's what we're doing, we're adding, and then I'm going to select the next cell that I want it to add. which is now T4. You'll notice that these are different colors so that you can see what the reference points are. And then I just need to hit the Enter key. So now I know that 3 plus 2 equals 5, but what if this was 30 plus 12? You notice now that the answer has changed, whereas before when I changed the value of R4 to 4, it did not change the answer. So this is why we use cell references, which are R4 and T4 in this occasion, to come up with the sum. So I'm going to go ahead and change this back to 3 plus 2. All right. Now I have a different formula. It is 3 minus 2. I'm going to start out where I want the answer to be, come up to my formula bar, and start typing what I need. Start with the equal sign. Again, we're not going to type in the numbers. We're going to select the cells. So I've selected R5, hit the minus key, T5, and enter. Now we know that 3 minus 2 equals 1, and we can always test this and say, well, what if I change this to 5? Well, that means it's still true. 5 minus 2 is 3. Change this back. And now we're going to move on to division. Start in the cell that you want the answer to be in. Make sure it's got that highlighted green. That's how you know it's active. Come up in the formula bar. Start with our equal sign. Select the first cell, 3, the backspace key, which is the division sign. Select the second cell, and then click Enter. Now if I look at this, is 3 divided by 2, 2. Here, let me pull up a calculator I've got on my computer. Many of you guys will try to use all of this stuff on your cell phones. If I see you doing math on your cell phones, I will take your cell phones away. I will return them, but you need to learn how to use formulas. So here's the calculator. If I do the exact same thing, 3 divided by 2 equals 1.5. So you're going to say, oh, that's wrong, wrong, wrong. Let's put away my calculator, and we'll see what happens when I increase the width of this column. Because it only had a limited space, it was rounding up the answer. So now you can see when I made this a wider area that it is 1.5. So if you see an error that's happening here, increase your column width so that you can see the full answer. Last one, multiplication. Select the cell we want the answer to be in, come up to our formula bar, start with our equals sign, select the first number, our asterisk, which is our multiplication sign, and our second number, and hit Enter. 3 times 2 equals 6. Now, this looks like something for math, doesn't it? There are multiple things that we need to do. We're going to start in our answer box. Up in our formula bar, we're going to type the word enter, equals. And we know that multiplication comes before addition and before subtraction. So we are going to say equals the first number times our second number, 5. Then we're going to add a plus sign because addition comes before subtraction. Select our third number, the minus sign, and then our fourth cell reference. So I'm saying number, but this is really the value of the cells. And then I hit enter. Now let's look at the math again. Pull up my calculator. We have 6 times 5. That equals 30. We're going to add 1, right? So that's 31. And we're going to subtract 1.5. So minus 1.5 equals 29.5. What? What? Okay. Again, there's not a whole lot of room in this cell. If I make it wider, it will now show me the actual value. And that is using basic, simple math formulas using cell references. All right, we're going to take a break and we're going to learn how to name our sheets. So this entire area here is a workbook. And sometimes you have multiple sheets on your workbook. So we have sheet 1, and that is active because we have this nice green lettering here. And sheet 2, sheet complete, is non-bolded. But if I click on it, you'll see what we're going to be working on in a moment. And now sheet 1 is not active. So I'm going to come over here to sheet 1. And if I double click on this area, you can see that I can highlight the text. So I can rename sheet 1 into examples per the directions that are right here. Change sheet 1 name to examples. I hit enter, and now the name of my worksheet in my workbook is changed. And that is going to be the end of part 2 of this Excel basic functions. When we come back, we're going to look about functions and ranges. And then we're going to move on to the sheet complete, where we are looking at some of the things that we can actually do with Excel to analyze information.